You know, most people that want to farm or homestead or become self-reliant never will. It's not because they don't have enough land, enough money, or even enough know-how. It's because they're waiting for something that's never going to happen.
In my opinion, there's just a few reasons why people don't get started in farming. Here's the first one. I call it the someday trap. And I know it's real because, well, I think I lived through it. Someday I'll find the right piece of land. Someday I'll have saved up enough money. Someday the kids will be a little older and it'll be a lot easier. Well, guess what? Someday is comfortable. Someday lets you keep the dream alive without actually doing anything. But someday has a funny way of turning into next year, and the next year, and the next year. And before you know it, 5 years are gone. And you're still sitting at the same kitchen table, watching other people live the life you keep talking about. Here's the truth. There is no perfect time. There's no perfect piece of land. And there's no amount of money in the bank that's going to make the first step feel easy. Because the first step isn't a purchase. It's the decision. And watch out for this one, because someday feels productive. It feels like you're planning. But planning without action is just a comfortable way of giving up. Now, the next one. This is the big one, and I hear this more than anything else. I use it myself for a long time. I can't afford it. Land is too expensive. I need to save more before I can even think about it. And I understand why people feel that way. They look at land prices and it feels impossible. Around here, raw land, and I mean raw, starts from $3,000 to $5,000 and goes up from there. You put a well and a septic tank on it and you're looking at another $12,000 to $15,000 before you could even park a trailer if you wanted to. Run power from the road and it adds up even faster than most people would expect. So people see those numbers and absolutely freak out. They think homesteading costs 6 figures to start. It doesn't. Look, here's the truth. Most of what you think you need to buy, you don't. You don't need a tractor. A used walk-behind tiller from an auction or bought privately will work a half-acre garden just fine. And you can find them from $300, $400, $500. And you don't need a barn on day one. 3 cattle panels and some T-posts will build a shelter that lasts for years. And that runs about maybe $100, maybe $150. And you don't need to buy land to start growing food. A 4x8 raised bed costs about $60 in lumber and soil. And it can produce more vegetables than most families eat in an entire summer if you know what you're doing. The people who actually make this life work didn't start with a big pile of money. They started with a small pile and a lot of resourcefulness. They built instead of bought. They bought used instead of new at the dealer. They made mistakes that cost $50 instead of $5,000. Start cheap. Start small. Let the homestead grow into itself. Most people hear that and they overcorrect in the other direction. They think, well, if money isn't a problem, then more land must be the answer. And that's where the next mistake comes in. Mistake number 3. The big land fantasy. People think they need 20 acres or 50 or maybe even 100. They see channels with sprawling properties, long driveways, and think, well, that's what a real homestead looks like. Let me tell you something. A well-used acre beats 10 acres of frustration every time. Our first property was 1 acre and it was mostly woods. It wasn't big, but it taught us how to manage time, soil, fencing, and critters on a small scale. And when we finally moved somewhere bigger, that experience saved us an enormous amount of time, money, and mistakes. You don't need 100 acres to grow most of your own food. You need a plan, some decent soil, and a willingness to sweat through your shirt on a Tuesday in July. I've seen amazing homesteads on a 1/4 acre suburban lot. I've also seen 40 acre properties with nothing but mud and regret. And here's the honest truth. Most people who are waiting for 20 acres can't manage the garden they've already got. If your backyard tomato died in June, 50 acres isn't going to save you. It's just going to give you 50 acres of dead tomatoes. Start where you are. Start with what you've got. The skills transfer, but the fantasy doesn't. Now here's where most videos would wrap it up. They give you a few mistakes, give you a little bit of encouragement, and tell you to click to subscribe. But look, there's a little more to this. And this is the biggest one that catches almost everybody. Mistake number 4, waiting until you feel ready. Most people think they need to know more before they start. More about the soil, more about livestock, more about canning and fencing and water systems. And I get it. Starting out, the list of things you don't know feels, well, overwhelming. I remember that feeling like it was yesterday. But here's what nobody tells you. You will never, ever feel ready. Not on day 1, not in year 5, and not in year 35. There's still weeks where it feels like nothing is working, because this life doesn't run on motivation. It runs on routine, whether you like it or not. The people that make it aren't the ones who knew the most going in. They're the ones who started anyhow. They planted a garden that failed and then planted another one. They bought 3 chickens, 1 died, and then they figured out why. They made mistakes. They were small enough to survive and learn from every single one. I started with a couple tomato plants when I was a kid. I had no idea what I was doing. Those plants didn't produce much. But what they did produce was just a little bit of confidence. And confidence is the one thing you can't get from a YouTube video. You have to earn it. Well, that's it. 4 reasons people never start to farm or homestead. They wait for someday. They think it costs a fortune. They chase big land. And they wait until they feel ready. Here's the cure, and it's one simple word: start. Start small, start ugly, and start before you think you're ready. Start with that $60 raised bed if that's what you've got. Because nobody who's doing this life ever felt ready when they began. They just decided that wanting it was enough to take the first step. Living this life isn't about perfection. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, even when the heat index is over 100 and the bull just knocked down one of your fences. If you're serious about getting started, I've got a full playlist that covers everything from finding land to what comes after your first season. And the land buying video is right here. I'm also curious what's holding you back. Is it money, land, or just getting started? Let me know down in the comments. And by the way, I do read every single one. From all of us here at Possum Ridge Farms, until next time, I'll see you down at the barn.